Warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najuma Lima, but first are the headlines. Museveni speaks out on explosion on a passenger bus. Uganda to host the Africa-wide Agriculture Extension Week. Sudanese army declares state of emergency, dissolves government. And in sports, Wakiso Giants head coach Bamoyana resigns. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has confirmed the incident in which a Swift Safari bus was targeted by an explosive that left 2 people dead and many others injured along the Kampala-Masaka highway. He assured the public that the hunt for the assailants behind the attack is on, since clues are clear and plenty. We have more.
Museveni said in a brief statement on Monday evening that as the hunt for the criminals of Padel who were trying to blow up General Okechi's funeral service, Komamboga, where 1 young Ugandan person was killed and 3 injured, continues, another low-power explosive happened on a bus heading to Ishaka, killing 1 person and injuring another one. The president said the remaining 37 passengers and the driver are safe after the incident, but noted investigations have kicked off. He said that the police are investigating whether the person blown up was the one carrying the bomb or not, adding that preliminary reports saying that the blast was from the seat and it killed only that person and injured the other one who was sitting behind. Monday evening's incident comes 2 days after a similar attack at a popular pork joint in Komamboga, a Kampala suburb, which left 1 person dead and 3 others injured. According to security, the incident that has been termed as an act of domestic terror saw crude materials including nails and other crude items used in making the improvised explosive. The explosive, according to preliminary investigations, was wrapped in a polythene bag which was later placed under a table by 3 men who disguised as customers. The explosive went off as soon as the trio left the popular hangout place. Global terrorism group Islamic State has since claimed responsibility for the attack, but security has said it is too early to conclude the group behind the attack. Members of the public have, however, been asked to remain vigilant and report any suspicious persons, activities, and items in places frequented by many people.
Opposition Democratic Party has called for a comprehensive assessment of terrorist attacks on the country. This follows a second bomb explosion on a long-distance bus that claimed a person on Monday in less than 48 hours. Nelgo reports.
Addressing journalists at their party headquarters in Kampala, Mityana South constituency representative in Parliament, Richard Lumu, sympathized with those who lost their loved ones in bomb explosions that happened in a long-distance bus and at a pork joint along Kampala-Masaka highway and at Komamboga, a Kampala suburb respectively, but however called on the government to give a detailed, comprehensive assessment of terrorist threats on the country.
Now the masters of everything did not even detect that the bomb was going to kill people in Komamboga and on the bus. We therefore call for a comprehensive assessment of terrorist threats to Uganda.
On Saturday, a bomb explosion at an eatery in Komamboga, a Kampala suburb, killed 1 person. The Islamic State group claimed responsibility for the attack. Police are now investigating an explosion on a long-distance bus that killed 1 person on Monday, the second fatal blast in less than 48 hours in the East African country. DP further condemned these attacks on the country. On the other hand, DP called upon government to let Ugandans decide on whether bail for capital offenders should be removed or not in what is termed as a referendum.
So tuwandiise ebbaluwa negenda mu kakiiko k'ebyokulonda. Ebbaluwa eyo esaba akakiiko k'ebyokulonda nti bannayuganda bakube akalulu k'ekikungu basalewo oba okweyimirirwa kusigalemu oba tekusigalamu.
Nalugo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Uganda will for the first time host the Africa-wide Agriculture Extension Week from 14th to 20th November 2021, which will be conducted both physically and virtually. Kachancho has more.
Addressing the press today at the Uganda Media Center in Kampala, the Minister of State for Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, retired Major Fred Wino Chakulaga said, the Africa-wide Agricultural Extension Week will see over 45 countries and over 600 participants converge in Uganda to reflect on the status of agriculture extension and advisory services delivery in Uganda and Africa at large, giving Uganda an opportunity to take stock of the progress made so far in strengthening its agricultural extension system, identify constraints to progress and define strategy for continued development. Mr. Wino added that the goal of extension and advisory services is to promote the transfer and application of appropriate information, knowledge and technologies to farmers, since it deserves special attention for transformation of agriculture in Uganda. The minister reassured the country that the agricultural sector transformation is on due course and that the state will require support and cooperation of all Ugandans to realize its success. TV Africa News, Kachancho Mutabazi reporting.
Let's take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. Sudanese top general declared a state of emergency, dissolved the authorities leading country's democratic transition, and announced the formation of a new government after soldiers detained civilian leaders on Monday in what activists denounced as a coup.
General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan's announcement in a televised address came after armed forces detained figures of the government in charge of leading the transition to democracy since the April 2019 ouster of President Omar al-Bashir. His statement came as clashes erupted in the capital Khartoum, with soldiers firing live rounds at people who took to the streets to protest against the power grab. The Information Ministry said that the violence was largely centered outside the army headquarters in the capital hours after soldiers detained Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, minister in his government. The ministry said that internet services were cut across the country around dawn and the main roads and bridges into Khartoum shut before soldiers stormed the headquarters of Sudan's state broadcaster in the capital's twin city of Omdurman. People took to the streets soon after setting tires ablaze and piling rows of bricks across roads to block them in protest against the military move. Around a dozen people have so far been wounded in the clashes, according to the Central Committee of Sudan Doctors and Independent Medics Union.
Mali's transitional government has ordered an envoy of the 15-nation West African regional bloc to leave the country within 72 hours because of actions incompatible with his status.
Goita's government on Monday declared ECOWAS Special Representative Hamidou Bouli persona non grata and ordered him to leave the country, according to a statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The statement said that while Bouli has been ordered to leave Mali, the government is still open to dialogue with ECOWAS, which has condemned the 2020 coup and is encouraging the country to return to democratic civilian rule. The Economic Community of West African States, known as ECOWAS, is pressing Mali's transitional leader Colonel Assimi Goita, who seized power in a coup in August 2020, to respect his pledge to hold presidential and legislative elections in February 2022. The group threatens sanctions against Mali if elections are not held by the date. Mali's government has not clearly explained the reasons for its decision against Bouli, which comes a day after the United Nations Security Council mission visited Mali and also pressed for February 2022 elections. In recent months, Malian Prime Minister Choguel Maïga has said before the government can plan the elections, it is necessary to hold a national conference in December in which various civil and political groups can agree on a date for elections.
Moving on, the head of Libya's election commission, Ahmad al-Shadli al-Sayed, said on Sunday that the commission will open a registration for the presidential and parliamentary candidates in November.
During a news conference held in the capital Tripoli, al-Sayed announced that the registration process will start by mid-November when technical and logistical preparations are completed. The elections are a major step forward in the efforts to end the decade-old violence by forming a new political leadership with widespread legitimacy. The chairman also announced a proactive process will be launched from Monday, which includes publishing a list of names of people registered to vote to ensure transparency and allow the concerned to challenge the names contained in them. Al-Sayed added that forms of the endorsement lists stipulated by the electoral laws on the candidates for the presidential and parliamentary elections will be published on the Commission's website on Sunday. He added that the acceptance of candidacy for the presidential and parliamentary elections will be available upon completion of the necessary technical and logistical preparations for this stage.
Away from that, the King of Eswatini, Africa's last absolute monarchy, shaken by a violent protest, called on Saturday for calm and announced that a national dialogue would be launched the day after a visit by mediators from Southern Africa. But the opposition and civil society have already rejected the call for talks. Formerly known as Swaziland, Eswatini, a small landlocked state of 1.3 million people, where protests are rare, has been the scene of pro-democracy demonstrations by students, civil servants, transport workers, and healthcare workers since June, leading the authorities to deploy the army. The king's main representative, Themba Gininza, quoted on the government's Twitter account that King Mswati III has announced that a process of national dialogue will be initiated after the annual ritual ceremonies of Ishwala, celebrating reality, which begin in November and traditionally last about a month. During Ishwala, the king isolates himself and does not participate in any government activities. According to Gininza, the king has called for calm and an end to all violence, as no dialogue can take place when tempers are so high. But opposition political parties and civil society organizations called the call for dialogue a ploy to mislead the mediators. At least 2 people were killed and 80 injured on Wednesday in clashes with security forces who fired tear gas and rubber bullets but also opened live fire. Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, wildlife in Tanzania and Kenya is under threat due to climate change, according to a local conservationist group that observes the migration of wild animals.
The Mara Predator Conservation Project noticed that just a small fraction of animals came to the Mara in the south of Kenya. Because of climate change, rainfalls have been less than usual, causing the ground to be drier and less likely to grow fresh grass. The water levels of the river are also unusually low, according to researcher Saitoti Silantoi. The sights of thousands of wild beasts migrating are severely turned down this year. Silantoi said that it was usually an endless mass of black, although over the last few years it has been very irregular, adding that just like a domino effect, it's an entire food chain that is at risk. Jackson Rakwa, a villager who is worried about his cattle, say that if there is no rain, soon they are going to lose a big number of cows, which is a problem to them, and there is nothing they can do about it but only to pray for the rain to come. And because food is lacking and the food chain is destabilized, animals might be more inclined to venture out of their usual areas, potentially creating animal-human interactions and conflicts.
In our health news today, only 7% Indian adults are currently hesitant to getting inoculated against COVID-19, the lowest vaccine hesitancy level in the country so far, according to a new survey. The study conducted by the online community platform Local Circles received 12,810 responses from citizens, 67% men and 33% women, across 301 districts. It sought to understand from unvaccinated citizens their reasons for not taking the jab and their plan on getting inoculated. As much as 42% of respondents were from Tier 1, 27% from Tier 2, and 31% from Tier 3, 4 and rural districts. India has an adult population of 94 crore and approximately 68 crore have already taken at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Sachini Taparia, the founder of Local Circles, said that the responses suggest that overall 46% of the unvaccinated citizens plan to take their first dose soon. He added that there were, however, 27% of citizens who do not plan to take the vaccine yet, as they are not convinced whether the currently available ones provide enough protection from the current and future variants of coronavirus. Safety concerns, quick clinical trials, rushed vaccine approvals, side effects were among apprehensions expressed by some citizens about their hesitancy, according to the survey report. In our sports news today, Wakiso Giants head coach Douglas Bamweyana has decided to leave his role at the club following a false start to the season. According to credible sources, the coach tendered a letter to the club board on Sunday asking to resign.
The decision comes after a false start to the 2021-2022 season by the Purple Sharks, with their opening 2 games ending in heavy defeats. Wakiso Giants Football Club lost 3-0 to Kampala Capital City Authority Football Club at home on match day 1 before suffering a humiliating defeat to Vipers Sports Club 5-0 at St. Mary's Stadium, Kitende. Whereas the club is yet to make any communication in regard to the matter, it is also reported that Bamweyana on Monday bid farewell to the players and also left the team's WhatsApp group. It should be noted that Bamweyana signed a 3-year deal at Wakiso Giant Football Club in June last year. Since gaining promotion to the top tier league in 2019, the Purple Sharks have had 4 coaches, including Kefa Kisala, Charles Livingstone Mbabazi, Deo Serada as interim, and Bamweyana. Wakiso Giants Football Club will return to action on Tuesday 26th October away to Police Football Club at MTN Omondi Stadium.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.